Hannah, you have a big trip coming up too, right? Like, so this is gonna be like the quickest. You just want to be in and out. You don't even want to be here today.
No, I'm present. I'm excited to be on the I'm always excited to be on the pod, no matter the circumstances. It's always a highlight of my week.
That's
Wow,
probably
I
the
think
nicest thing you could say.
Hannah is really brown nosing here. She's just got an eye for whatever merch Matt produces next. She just wants some new merch from
I want
Matt.
another my it's one of my favorite mugs, the two
I-
jocks and a schlub. So
Too good. Well, we definitely had to have you on because it's Pride Month and
woo-hoo.
it's we're what June 8th. We're already 8 days in, so people are gonna hear this tomorrow. And if they're not already getting involved and having fun with it, they still have what another 20 days left in the month. And really, we don't have to just do it in June, but this is where we can highlight it and talk about it a little bit more. And unfortunately, there's still some bad things that are getting highlighted in sports and
Ugh,
whatnot when it comes to that. But I
yeah.
figure this is a great time to bring you on and talk to us a little bit. First, I guess like why it's so important and what does it mean to you, like what gives you the feels about it all,
Yeah. It's so funny. So part of my work at the Commanders this month is like spotlighting some employees who are part of the LGBTQ community. And that is one of the questions. What does Pride Month mean to you? I'm probably going to write my own spotlight, and I haven't thought about the answer to that yet. So this will be a good rehearsal.
Good tune up.
But kind of borrowing from what some of my colleagues have said and that I super resonate with, it's a time to celebrate like how far we've come and the fact that, we have made incredible contributions to sport and society and politics, and we're your neighbors and, your senators and everything. But then it's also, I think, every year during Pride Month, I learn something about like the history of the LGBTQ community that I didn't know. So also looking at, yeah, like the injustices, what we still have to do, how different our experiences can be, even from state to state here, and then obviously across the world. So yeah, I mean, the parties and festivals and parades are fun, but I think education is a big part of it as well.
To me, it's interesting. Have you guys any of you ever watched Modern Family before, the sitcom?
Yeah,
Yes.
some episodes, yeah.
Okay. Early in the sitcom, it's probably like what 2008-ish when it starts. Like when legislation, you mentioned politics, Hannah, and like it wasn't legal for gay people to get married, for lesbians to get married and everything. And it's just like it's kind of weird to think that 2008,
That wasn't
Ethan,
that
Matt,
long
and I
ago.
were
Yeah.
in college already. And it's long enough ago that it's like, okay, it's you forget that it took so long, to get to that point. I guess it's that weird combination of everything. And I was just the reason that Modern Family stands out is because like they're talking about in the episodes like trying to get married and everything, and I'm like, why is it a big deal? Like it's and everything, and you just like forget that that was a huge deal when it all happened. And I don't exactly remember like when sports got so on board with everything. And I imagine it was over the last handful of years or so, and I'm sure social media played a hand in that. But it's just really, when you think about it, incredible where we were not so long ago and where
Yeah,
we are
so
now.
much has changed even in just the last decade. And I remember Sue Bird talking about like, yeah, I mean, obviously she's been in the WNBA almost since its inception, and seeing, when she first started out in the early 2000s where you didn't talk about your sexuality, and now The WNBA is obviously on the forefront of talking about like LGBTQ issues and stuff. So yeah, so much has changed. Actually, this is probably a good time to say we today started the Pride Employee Resource Group at the Commanders. So that's exciting. I'm on the chair, my first time being on the chair of anything.
Nice.
So we kicked off that employee resource group today. So I feel hopeful about that. But then of course in the NFL, I mean, most teams changed their avatars. I work closely with the social media team, and most teams changed their avatars on June 1st. And obviously the comment section is like a dumpster fire.
Oh God.
And I think this is my first year working in the NFL. So I think I know that intellectually that the NFL's fan base is more conservative, but it's different, you know, actually like seeing it and whatnot. So like you said, there's still a long way to go, but and there's really interesting intersections with sport and stuff. I know what happened with the Tampa Bay Rays. There's an interesting conversation we had there. I saw some tweet that kind of said, you know, the real issue is that there's something being forced on the MLB that's not true, which is that there's never been a player to come out. It's not a welcoming, you know, environment for queer folks in a lot of ways. You know, who is primarily watching baseball, et cetera, et cetera. And people were pushing back against that. And I also would kind of push back against that just because I know there are folks from the inside trying, you know, that identify as LGBTQ and are trying to change things. But I understand it not necessarily feeling authentic when you're making baseball players who look and have a certain vibe and the culture and the history, you know, slap rainbows on their jerseys. It's tough.
Yeah, I was wondering if you didn't bring that up, I was wondering if Matt or Ethan, you were going to ask.
I was going to. Yeah, I was ready. That was
yeah.
With the Rays specifically.
Actually, Jack Flaherty went to Harvard Westlake, my high school. He called him out. So
cool.
proud.
I saw
proud
that.
Harvard Westlake alum there.
Nice.
Yeah. It's tough. Like I said, that's really just what it comes down to. It's tough.
Yeah.
But obviously women's sports, it's a completely different thing. There's a lot of overlap in that Venn diagram. So that's so many of my like idols in the queer community have come from women's sports. And I'm sure many folks behind me and in front of me, older than me, would say the same things.
Yeah. What are you're in that unique position where you work in a traditionally male sport environment, and but you're a fan more of the women's side, and like to your point, I think it's very clear that one is more progressive than the other, even though, you know, the traditional male sports are doing their part. Like, what is it, just as simple as like creating environments where people do feel like they can come out and not have retribution for that? Or like, is what, you know, Major League Baseball or the NFL, like, do you think there are good things that they're doing, or is it just like more eyewash for you at this point?
Yeah, I think that there are I'll just speak from the Commanders' experience. Like, you know, we started this Pride ERG. I was so like touched by like the colleagues and the folks who showed up today. And, you know, we're going to have a presence at the Pride Festival. And again, I know that it can look like rainbow logos, that it's just like a surface level effort, but I don't know. I feel like we're moving the needle. You know, I feel supported by my colleagues at work, and I don't feel like it's something that I have to leave at the door. And I hope, I mean, I know that there is still certain attitudes that prevail that came up in the Commanders world today. I don't know how much you guys were on Twitter, but yeah, there's more and more we're getting folks that I think are welcoming, recognizing that this is the norm. It's their daughter, it's their son, it's their best friend. And so I think it's just kind of like a snowball effect almost. Yeah.
No. Sorry, go ahead. Oh, I thought somebody was jumping in there. My bad. Just trying to facilitate. No, I was gonna say, do either one of you? I was gonna ask you, Hannah, any WNBA stuff. I would love to talk about Becky. I fanboyed a little bit last week with these guys, but if there was anything else outside of what's going on this month with Pride Month and everything, but within WOSPO.
Yeah, I mean, we have to call out the Women's College World Series. First game is happening right now. Texas versus Oklahoma, which I guess they call the Red River rivalry. I am not familiar with.
It's huge in football.
Yeah, I know, like Big 12 stuff. Oklahoma is the Goliath for sure. They're going for their 6th title. I think they've only lost like 3 games this year. It's like their record's like 50-3 or something. And
they like 10-run rule everybody too. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then Texas is actually the first unseeded team to make it to the College World Series.
Oh, wow. So this is really David Goliath. That's not even like an exaggeration. That's
Yes, but so it's David and Goliath, but then it seems like there's more on the line because this is like a rivalry. So it should be interesting. Cool. Yeah, that's really the big thing that's been going on, you know, NWSL, WNBA, just ticking along. I don't know if we have any big tournaments. We talked about women's tennis briefly. Coco Gauff, she made it to the French Open final, but lost. So that was exciting. And to think that people are doing things that cool at that young of an age. Yeah. That's crazy. Do you guys watch college baseball? I know, Colin, we've talked about this a little bit, but
yeah, I'll let these guys go.
I haven't watched much. Usually I'll get Sports Center highlights, and that's about it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, but yeah, I just never really get around to watching it. But I think in baseball, there are some really interesting conversations sort of about, especially when it comes to the draft. You know, there are these philosophies of drafting people straight out of high school versus drafting them out of college, and how do you gauge talent? How do you gauge ability? And there's been a lot of interesting kind of data in like the last couple of decades. Basically, it's what you would expect, right? That the college people are obviously a lot more polished, and in some cases, like your really, really top-notch college players are basically major league ready. Like some of these guys, like Steven Strasburg and people like that, they will only need a few games in the minor leagues, and then they're like ready.
Strasburg, college?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he was like a junior at San Diego State. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and there are a few like that. But in any case, all this to say, I think it's like a very interesting kind of overall thing. I think it's kind of cool, but I never did get the chance to watch.
I know with like college basketball and NBA, a lot of basketball enthusiasts are like, it's 2 different sports. Like I don't have enough like refined of an eye to like say
metal
that.
Bats. That's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah. Okay. So do you the big differences?
Yeah, so like, I think when we were like teenagers, early 20s, the metal bats were like out of control, like video game type bats, where you just like touch the baseball and you hit a home run, and everything. And they've somehow deadened the bats, so it's not quite a wood bat, where it's super difficult to hit like what they call the sweet spot, which is like maybe this big, and on a metal bat it's like this big. So it's definitely a little, but the biggest difference between college and pros is like it is at any level, is like when you're playing in the program, you're all pros. When you're playing in the college game, maybe there's like a handful of pros on the field, and then there's a lot of really good athletes, but like it's just not the same, you know. College football has always been really interesting to me like that, because there's less teams, whereas in like college baseball, college softball, college basketball, there's so many Division I teams that you could go to a Division I game and not see a any future professionals. And like that's okay for some people who just like want to watch the amateur sports and everything, but that's why for me college football is really interesting, because like at any point you could be watching a game and there could be like 6 or 7 guys on the field at one point that you're like, wow, these people are going to play in the NFL. They're going to be on the Commanders next year, something like that, like with Dotson.
Unless you were watching a Syracuse game this past year. Hey, no one drafted.
I didn't say with all teams, but I said most of the time. But Syracuse could be playing Penn State, or could be playing Ohio State or something like that. And then you're still going to see future professionals on the field. Syracuse produces their own professional players too.
Every couple of years, yeah.
I have to say that I love Jahan Dotson. I'm probably like, I don't mean to like fangirl, but like from what I've seen off the field, because it's so weird at the, we're at the facilities and we're like eating like with these guys and we're passing them a lot. And it's like, yeah, it's just an interesting space, but Jahan just seems like such a good spirit, and I'm just really excited to cheer him on. And I'm excited. I was so excited that you were excited about him getting drafted. So
yeah, he's a really, really interesting story. He was a 4-star, I think, 4 out of 5 recruit. He had committed to UCLA, and then I think he's from California. At the last minute, decommitted, went to Penn State, and they were just searching for somebody to like elevate the wide receiver room, and they didn't know it was going to be him. Like he was a high recruit, but like he didn't really flash or anything in camp, and then boom, he just came out of nowhere. So not only was he just amazing on the field, especially the last 2 seasons, and he stayed the extra COVID year to jump up his stock a little bit in the NFL, but yeah, everything you hear, he's just a great leader, great person and everything. And like those things, I mean, especially when it's Penn State, it's going to warm my heart. But in general, I like those type of stories where kids come back because they want to play with their friends, essentially. Like they just want to be a kid, and I get it. Like there's a lot of money you're leaving on the table, and especially when you're talking about football, and the shelf life is really short. But it'll be hard for me to root for him when they play the Giants, but every other Sunday I'll be rooting pretty hard for him.
I love that. And Ethan, going back to baseball, I just wanted to let you know I had my first experience at Nats Park like 2 weeks ago.
You beat me. I still haven't gone. Okay.
Like how long have you been here?
Fall of 2019.
All right, that's
so mostly COVID, and then the games. I've gone to a few games since COVID started to kind of ease up. But I've been going to Baltimore because I've been meeting Matt, and that's halfway between. So I haven't gone to Nats Park yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So how was it?
I enjoyed some Dippin' Dots for the first
Dots.
time.
Very nice. Classic.
Ice cream of the future.
Years. So it's cool. I mean, it's you got to do it at least once in the summer. Go to the ballpark. So
did you get French fries?
I was literally gonna ask that.
Hannah, you didn't listen to that, did you?
No. Ethan is apparently very particular about his ballpark French fries.
Oh, okay.
I went on. You were asking about rants. I went on a big rant a few episodes ago. Anyways, continue. Did you have fries?
French fries. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll need to circle back to that one.
You can't overlook the rant, because the rant not only is a classic Ethan rant, but it totally changed the Yankees season. Like if you believe in that type of stuff.
That's right, baby. I forgot about that. Yeah. Anyways, we can circle back.
Next time I go, I'll make sure to order them.
The too long didn't read version is cold and soggy fries at Baltimore. Ethan expects better.
Yes. Yeah. That's the TLDR. But so you had Dippin' Dots. You were at Nats Park. Did you get to see Juan Soto? Did he play?
Yeah, but they weren't wearing their really cool City Connect.
Yeah, those are cool uniforms.
Awesome.
Yeah.
They're so cool.
Yeah, but Soto's amazing. He's literally like our generation's Ted Williams. And he's incredible. And he's only 23, and he's my birthday buddy. So.
Oh, well, I know the social team like tweets every time it's like a running bit that they always tweet when he homers.
Oh, do they? Yeah. Yeah, he's so fucking good.
And it's crazy how dominant his jersey is in the stands.
Oh, I've
never been to a sporting event. I've never been to a sporting event where you were like just seeing one jersey like so frequently. So that's interesting.
Well, he's all that you got at this point.
commentary on the state of the Nats right now.
Well, that's the thing.
unfortunately.
I mean, yeah, if Strasburg was still like pretty good and was like healthy ever, you would probably see some Strasburgs. If Scherzer was still on the team, you'd definitely see some Scherzers. But other than
Corbin.
that,
Corbin,
if he was still there, Trey Turner, if he was still there, maybe a little bit. But
Schwarber.
the Nats have gotten weird on everybody. Like Soto is, I mean, I guess Strasburg's still there, but like, but yeah,
I think
Soto is
Corbin's
like
still there too.
So.
Yeah.
Corbin. Oh, was that his big deal? I thought he signed with the D-backs, didn't he?
No, he came up with the D-backs.
Came from the D-backs, signed with the Nats. Okay. Well, if he's pitching well again, then he'll get some jerseys sold. I don't know.
I don't think he is. I think
he lost it.
Yeah.
So anyway, Soto jerseys all over the place.
Yeah, and Dippin' Dots.
And Dippin' Dots. Who did they play? Who else did you see?
Well, this was ridiculous. I went to Colorado Boulder Alumni Night because of partners. So they were playing the Rockies.
Okay, Chris Bryant.
Chris Bryant
on the heels of his massive deal, yeah.
And
playing, though.
We got like a $10 food voucher. So I think so I didn't spend as much money as I would have because of that. So shout out them. But I hope to make it to another one. Like I said, to try the fries primarily now.
You have one job. You must report back on the fries.
Yeah. Well, and you should just invite Ethan because he's never going to go on his own. So.
I'm going to go at some point, someday. I mean, I want to go just to see Soto and say that I've gone. It just hasn't happened yet. But
well, now that I've teed you guys up with baseball talk, I guess I shut the part.
Yeah, that's right. You did. You teed us up nice.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me on, as always.
Thanks for coming. Good to see you.
You are first in line for the next merch, whatever it may be.
Right.
Thanks, Anna. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Too good. Yeah, you got to go to a Nats game with her. Also, Nestor just gave up a bomb.
Oh, did he? He's finally showing that he's a human.
Yeah,
that's one of the craziest stories of this season. We can get into that like another time if it continues. But holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, so I remembered halfway through. I do follow one very tiny specific slice of Big Ten baseball, and that is Jason Savacool. Shout out, Mr. Savacool. Pitching for
Maryland,
the Maryland Terrapins.
Yeah.
Terrapins.
Wait, Savacool, our teacher from high school?
He is related to him, right?
It's his son.
Yeah.
Really?
I thought so.
Yeah.
No shit. Wow.
Oh, where have you been? I thought we talked about this like 6 or 7 times.
Oh, I don't remember this. Okay.
Not only that, he's been like working his way up the rotation. Now, like he got bumped to the Friday games or whatever. Like he got bumped up. He was pitching so well.
Yeah.
So he's been
he's had a good year.
Pitcher of the month twice for the Big Ten, and like
Yeah. Let me after you finish, I want to tell a story.
It's awesome to see. Product of Baldwinsville, kind of rival high school, teacher of ours in high school. So I think he was already drafted and chose Maryland instead. So yeah.
That's awesome. So I just want to tell really quickly. So we're talking about a teacher of ours from high school. So Mr. Savacool taught AP English. Matt, you and I were in the same class, weren't we?
English lit, baby.
Yeah.
I had him for journalism.
And you had him for journalism. Mr. Savacool was awesome. Super cool guy. 2 quick stories. Number one, I remember I had to go and talk to him for some reason, like separately, like outside of class. And I like show up to the classroom in the middle of the day. He doesn't have a class. It's like one of his free periods. I like knock on the door and I go in, and he's like sitting there with like his feet, like leaning back in his chair. His feet are like up on his desk. He's got headphones on and this like big grin on his face. Like clearly he's just like watching something like really funny on his laptop, but it was just like his feet on his desk, like just fucking chilling. Like it was very funny. I just remember being like, oh my God, like my AP English teacher is just like, like this. But even better is at the end of the year, we did after our AP exam, we did a cinematography unit because he's a really big film buff. And me and one of my best friends from childhood, who you guys also obviously were good friends with for a long time, Dave Sanderson. Shout out to Dave. I'm sure that he listens to the podcast all the time.
Howdy, Dave.
We decided to do a scene from Old School for our project. So for those who don't know, Old School is a very silly, very dumb movie with like Luke Wilson and Will Ferrell. And I'm trying to remember. It's a classic, but like very silly, like dumb, like bro comedy, right?
You're my boy, Blue.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, Vince Vaughn, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot he's in there too. And so literally, so me and Dave did the scene where Will Ferrell accidentally like gets stabbed with a tranquilizer and like falls into the
He gets
pool, and
shot. He gets shot.
he gets shot with a trank. And then it's like the Sound of Silence, the Simon and Garfunkel song, like
Yes,
playing over
yeah.
while you see Will Ferrell just like floating around underneath the water, like tranked. And so, and I just remember thinking, like, I can't believe like me and my buddy are doing a presentation to the class in AP English on this fucking scene. And Mr. Savacool was like totally cool with it. You know, he was a good guy. So good for his son. That's awesome.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm doing like with my partner picking, some Spielberg movie. It's actually one of my favorite movies called Terminal. That like in trying to like go really deep into it, and he's just like Mr. Savacool is just trying to kill time between the exam and the end of the year.
Yeah, yeah. Me and Dave had the right idea with Old School. Yeah, yeah. Anyways, that's really cool
Like-
though. About his son. That's awesome.
Yeah. I guess if you guys are telling your stories, it was game day, senior year of high school. So again, I'm journalism and I'm writing for the paper. I don't remember if I knew I had a story nominated or not. But we're at SU, we're at Newhouse on a game day, and I think it was like we were playing CNS or something. So like I'm already, nervous and whatever. I think it was the day I hit the triple off of Corbin.
Oh,
and
big
everything.
day.
Anyway, so we're there, and I don't remember if I knew one of my stories had been nominated, but they get to the sports features, and I have it right here on the wall. I won the gold for the high school press day, like in the entire central New York area. And we get back and we're like cutting it real close to like I gotta go by the time we get back to the school and everything. And Sav is like, he's like, you want me to hold, because I was just like embarrassed about it all, because I didn't know it was gonna happen. And so I have this like award, and a couple other people won awards too, but I think I was the only one who won the gold. And he's like, I'll just take it. I'll take a pic. I take a pic of all the awards and I put it up on the wall and everything. And like, he could just tell that I was like an awkward 18-year-old at the time, and I didn't know what to do like with this award that I just won for a really cool story, and everything. But he was just like, yep, I'll take care of it and everything. And then when either the next day or the day after, I can't remember, because it was the block schedule, whenever I went in, he just gave it to me and was like, put it in your bag, like it'll be good and everything. And he's just, like you said, down to earth, cool guy.
Yeah.
I
remember
of good memories.
Him, just while we're telling all of our stories. I follow for our senior year. I made the front cover or the front page of the Post Standard sports section. It's really like the only good picture of me carrying the football. And I made it wasn't even a big picture. It was just a tiny one in the corner. But the next Monday, I'm like in his classroom because I want to grab that, and he had him hidden. And he was like, "You just want that because it's your, because you were on the front page." He's like, "Tell me you only want it because you're on the front page." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Good, because I saved you one," and just handed me the whole paper. So that was really cool of him as well.
Really cool guy.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Maybe the Yankees will draft him and we can keep being fans.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Everything. Follow the journey. So all right. So let's get in. I have a few things. We can fly through some of these things. First, just have to get a shout out to my daughter Stella, who's made a lot of noise on the Two Jocks and a Schlub Facebook page. If you haven't seen it, her ravioli picture is getting a lot of love and getting even some hate from Ethan and others who don't think cheese ravioli is any good.
I mean, I like tonight. Nice. I like cheese ravioli. It's just not the best cheese-filled pasta. That's all. And I had to let Stella know this. So
I'm sure she listens to your advice.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I want to ask Matt a question. I was listening to two or three podcasts ago, and we're not, when I was asking you about the mushrooms in my yard, and you and Ethan brought up the interesting mushroom documentary, and you were like, "Oh yeah, it's great," and you were fanboying out about it and everything. Last week, obviously we were talking about documentaries and like, how you need to like keep an objective eye on them and, think through like what lens it's coming through and everything. And I'm just wondering like how you could love a documentary so much when they didn't even interview a single mushroom for that documentary. Like not one mushroom got the opportunity to tell their side of the story.
The mushroom spoke. There was a couple scenes where they poked the mushrooms, and then the mushrooms, just okay. You remember the poo fungus? Just to get out there, just go out there. The poo fungus that when you touch it and then it shoots its little spores across. They were engaging with the subjects. They were poking the poo fungus and it was shooting its spores out. So
there you go.
They were engaging. You just have to listen. You have to actively listen to those guys.
Okay.
It is funny you say that though, Kyle, because like obviously just like a funny bit, but with the documentary, even with this, and we, like Matt and I said, we both loved it, but like you still do have to take it with a grain of salt. Like the guy who's like the narrator and the guy who sort of runs it he's like more than a little bit of a hippie. Like he's kind of crazy. Yes. and he attributes probably more to the mushrooms than he should, at least more than there is currently data to support. Like he talks about mushrooms as if they are literally like a fucking miracle plant that can cure everything. Like that's the way he talks about them. And it's like, let's kind of hit the brakes here. Like I think, there's probably a lot of stuff a lot of good uses that we haven't fully explored and things like that. But let's wait for like the real studies and peer-reviewed journal articles to come through before we go making any insane claims. But so even in that though, even in the documentary that I like really enjoyed, you got to be aware of kind of who it's coming from, where it's coming from, and in his case, like, it's not that he's necessarily pushing like a political agenda or anything like that, right? Like, he just fucking really loves mushrooms. Yeah. So like that's cool. Like he's just really, really passionate about it. That's fine. But you still have to be like, okay, some of these things he's saying about the mushrooms might not be 100%.
Probably a stretch.
And that's okay.
Yeah, like you said, I was just poking fun.
Yeah,
it was just so funny that like I was just listening back and I was like, oh my god, you literally talked about a documentary where I can poke the bear there really easily.
Well, I mean, come on. Plus, you got me talking about poo mushrooms.
There you go. That's right.
Totally.
Actually, there's probably for emojis. There's a poop emoji. Is there a mushroom emoji too?
Oh, of course there is.
I think
there's got to be, right? Tailor made for your social post.
Yeah. I think it might even be a Mario mushroom.
Okay. Poo mushroom talk. Love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
With the emojis.
Yeah. So I've got some baseball. We can do like a quick roundup of some baseball stuff, and then I have 2 mailbag questions that came in last night.
Ooh.
I saw one of them, Danny.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yep, and I've got another one. So on the podcast, we love to hate on the Baltimore Orioles, and I don't really have anything to debate on this. I just want to throw out some funny numbers for you guys. Max Scherzer, the highest paid player in baseball, getting there, roughly makes around $43 million a season. The Orioles payroll as a team, roughly around $46 million.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Just another illustration of how messed up the game is.
Let's hate on them a little bit more right now. They released the first iteration of park factors for this year. For all the MLB stadiums. For the uninitiated, park factors are essentially compared to an average stadium, how much more or less likely are certain offensive things likely to happen. For example, Coors Field, even though it's very large dimensions, it's up in the mountains, it's very thin air. So the park factor there, Coors is one of the highest scoring ballparks and the most likely to hit home runs in all of the majors because of the atmosphere there. So it's a way to gauge, compared to an average park, how much more or less offense happens at these parks. Just as a funny kind of note, Yankee Stadium is actually kind of pegged in the middle. A little bit higher on home runs, a lot less triples at Yankee Stadium, and then doubles and singles are about average. But with that stupid redesign of left field in Baltimore, it's gone from one of the most home run friendly parks to, I think, like the least home run friendly or second least home run friendly park. I believe they tabulated like 16 hits that were normally home runs there that were not home runs this year. And I think 12 of them were by Orioles and 4 of them were by visitors, 2 of them which were Yankees players. So they were talking about how
they were both G.
Yeah,
G
one was
and
G,
Judge.
one was Judge.
Judge,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they were talking about how the effect of backing the wall up 15 feet and doubling its height is really hurting the Orioles. Actually, it's cost them an astounding number of runs this year.
That's hilarious.
So
what were they thinking? What was the rationale? Do you guys know?
They didn't want to give up as many homers.
Yeah.
Okay.
They play the Yankees 16 times a year, 8,
right.
But
9
the
times
balance,
in Baltimore.
the unbalanced schedule goes away next season.
Yeah.
Like if anyone had a brain, they would have been like, "This is dumb. Like, wait it out."
The rationale is Baltimore is full of clowns.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, they are.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I think they were one of the last organizations to embrace analytics and shit, right?
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
And this is actually a scary good segue. I hate on Buck Showalter a lot because he was the main culprit of not advancing into the analytics age in Baltimore. And people love them some Buck Showalter, and I don't totally understand it. But as much as I hate on Buck, I have some props that I have to give him. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but Sunday, June 5th, the Mets are playing in Los Angeles. He used his closer, Diaz, in the 8th at Dodger Stadium to face Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Trey Turner. Shut him down 1, 2, 3. Just like we talk about all the time. Like you should use your highest leverage pitcher against the best hitters of the other team. Doesn't matter if it's the 9th inning or not.
Yeah.
And
100%.
so he did the right thing.
I'm impressed.
And this is a positive example of how managers from a tactical sense actually affect a game. Now, here's where the story gets a little crazy. So Diaz rarely has multi-inning saves, and Showalter also wanted him available for Monday because they are in San Diego on this road trip right now. So understandable. So he puts out Seth Lugo, who gave up a leadoff homer to Will Smith to cut the lead to 1. And then later, Eddie Alvarez had an RBI single to tie the game in the 9th. However, the Mets were vindicated in the end when J.D. Davis drove home Pete Alonso in the 10th, and Adonis Medina got the save. And, I guess that's where like the more traditionalist closer people would be like, well, you should have used Diaz in the 9th because then this would have never happened. But like, how do you know they're going to get Betts and Freeman and Turner out?
Yeah, exactly.
And everything. So, I was like, yeah, it didn't exactly work out the way that Showalter wanted it to, but they got the win. And I'll give Showalter props for, going against, I think, like what traditionalists would
and
do
what he would have done for most of his career in all likelihood.
Yeah.
And the people who were clapping back against that, I think are wrong in this case. I mean, Betts, Freeman, Turner, like that is a brutal 3 to be facing late in the game. I mean, that's as good of a 3 as you're going to get, anywhere. And so if you're not going to use your best reliever then in a close game in the 8th inning when you're going to face those 3, like you're wasting them. Like it's just fucking dumb. Yeah. So I think that was the right move. The 9th inning, you never know. Whatever. Okay, so it didn't go great, but like absolutely, Betts, Freeman, and Turner, you should be using your best guy, no doubt.
Yep, absolutely. And that was a statement series for the Mets. I mean, they lost the first 2 games, and everyone thought, okay, well, this is silly. And then they won those next 2 games, and they're a legitimate team right now. As much as
they got the second best record in the majors, don't they?
I think so.
By like winning percentage, anyways. Yep. I was looking the other day. Yeah.
Yep, behind the Yanks. Yep.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yep. Something else I saw about the Mets today, though, just talking about how bottomless pockets of owners can affect things as well. You guys see the article about the pitching machine the Mets bought?
No.
They bought from Canada a special pitching machine. I don't know how the hell it does it. So I want to find like video of it. But apparently it can imitate the delivery and pitches of any pitcher in the majors. So
wow.
Like, if Kershaw, if you're facing Kershaw the next day, like you can have it throw like Kershaw, delivery and everything. So I don't know how it does it, and it was one of those things. As I was reading it, I was like, "Is this real?"
I want to see a video. Yeah,
let me see a video. Like, is this internet stupidity, which I am now parroting without checking, or is this actually something that happened? So I'm either like an octogenarian who reads something on Facebook and thinks it's gospel, or it's cutting edge technology. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Wow. Wild
Yeah,
if true,
report
for
back.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, report back for sure. Okay, a couple topics left for baseball. The Blue Jays. That movie's kicking into fourth gear right now. Coming into the week, they had won 9 of 11. They won again last night. I don't know if they're winning right now, but they finally look like they've turned the page to being legitimate, and I'm really happy about that. I was making fun of you guys a couple weeks ago because of their slow start. But I think I also said on the prediction pod that I would welcome a rivalry between the Jays and the Yankees. I think that would be a ton of fun. Vladdy and all those dudes and everything. And it's someone different than the Red Sox, who are also playing well right now, but they're also playing the Angels, who we can get into that in just a second. But it's cool to see the Blue Jays playing well. I think that's good for baseball. I think that's good for the East, and it'll be interesting. Well, I don't know how many more times the Yankees played the Blue Jays, because I feel like they've played them a bunch already. But
we still have 10 or 12 games against them this year.
Okay, so still a good chunk.
But yeah, all 3 AL wildcard teams, at least as of yesterday, were at the AL East.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Yeah, Toronto, Tampa, and Boston. Jesus Christ. Yeah, what a crazy division.
Yeah. Well, because somebody showed a chart of Boston and in Los Angeles, the Angels, and like it goes. So Boston's goes like down and up like this, and the Angels goes up and down like this, and then they cross over and go like this and cross over. And it's like they have mirrored how they've played, like the complete opposite the entire year. And this is okay. So this is the last thing I wanted to talk about, and then we can do the mailbags. So Joe Madden has been fired. Joe Girardi, to my
no more Joe's
disdain.
Yeah, the Joes got fired.
Has been fired. It's not what you want, as Joe Girardi was famous for in New York, at least. And it was so funny. Like, I don't know if you guys probably can't even read it but before Madden got fired, I started to write down the topics, and I said, is Madden overrated? That was the question. I was like, how can you have Trout and Ohtani and not win?
And
like, I get it. And to a certain extent, that is still a question for me. But oh my God, somebody tweeted out the list of pitchers that Joe Madden had during his tenure in Los Angeles, and it is horrific. Like,
well, this is
really, really, really bad. And it's the same thing with Joe Girardi. And this is where, like, so I think I am more convinced than ever, especially what's happening with the Yankees right now, that you cannot make up for having bad talent, even if you have a great manager.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying Girardi and Madden are like the greatest managers of all time, but I think they're pretty good.
They're
managers,
solid, absolutely.
all things considered. But you cannot make up for a pitching staff. You cannot make up for a lack of talent. Now, where you can screw things up is if you do have the talent and you're making bad tactical decisions, or and that's what we've seen in the Aaron Boone tenure, is like he was making bad tactical decisions. His coaching staff wasn't coaching the players in the right way. They seem to have rectified that this season, and they're playing much better. They're playing a completely different style of baseball, quite honestly. And so it's like, that's where you can see, I think, again, we can't truly measure it, but that's the value, right, of a manager and a good team. Like, Joe Girardi was in the same situation as Joe Torre was in St. Louis and in Atlanta and with the Mets. If Joe Girardi comes to the Yankees today, if he wasn't the Yankee manager already, like, Joe Girardi's going to win. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Two things really quickly. We're talking about like the manager's effect and all of this, and about the talent level, right? So Kyle, to your point, right? Like, so Joe Madden, I'm sure a lot of people are asking that. How can you not win with Trout and Ohtani? Well, it's easy if you don't have pitching. That's your answer. Boom, done. But one thing I want to mention, the Chicago White Sox are 26-27 right now. So where are the people calling for Tony La Russa's head? That's what I want to fucking know.
I mean, I was last year, but
yeah, well, I mean, many people thought that was an insane hiring, but some people thought it was great. But the Phillies, for comparison, who just fired Joe Girardi, are 26-29. Okay, so basically the same. And then the Angels are 27-30. So they're basically all the same. So La Russa has not been fired. I doubt that he will be fired. But like, we love to talk about like managerial effects. And we talk about talent, we talk about tactics, and blah 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 blah. The White Sox are fucking loaded, and they were good last year. We know this. They made the playoffs, but right now they're 26-27. It doesn't look great. However, I will say my next point was that what's crazy about baseball, and I think people forget this a lot, is when we say that baseball is a marathon, like we fucking mean it. Like right now, it's June 8th. The season's already been going for 2 months. The Yankees are 40-15. Okay, so they've played what? 55 games. We still have more than 100 games to go in this season. Like, we're a third of the way-ish through the season, right? And so much can change, right? We're talking about 2/3 of the season still to go, more than 100 games. So we're talking about the Yankees being so great. We're talking about Boston playing well recently. We're talking about the White Sox not being good. The Angels on their slide, blah, 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 blah. They're still over 100 games. Like, we don't, so much can change. And I think people forget that a lot. Like, this season is so fucking long. So, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't want you guys to watch the highlights of the Yankee game tomorrow. G is having a rough game out in right field.
Oh God.
Yeah. His injury, I think, is limiting his ability to move, and for some reason the ball keeps getting hit out there.
Yeah.
And it's pretty rough. But all right, you guys want to go to the mailbags and top this off?
Yeah.
Wait, first, what are you guys drinking? I think Ethan's drinking a Port City IPA.
Yeah, you got it. You must have seen my bottle when I was pouring it.
I saw the bottle, yeah.
Yeah. Port City out of Alexandria, Virginia. Monumental IPA, it's called. And it was actually surprisingly pretty good, actually. I thought it was better than I expected it to be. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm already done, but I enjoyed it.
I could have guessed that one.
I finished my last Juicy J last night because they were already 2 months old. They needed to get finished.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. You have a box of fresh. Yeah, they were 2 months old.
Yeah.
Wow. I bought them on Saturday.
Oh, so it's not okay.
From the brewery.
I was thinking this was Colin's fault. This was not Colin's fault. So the brewery was just selling beers that the beers just hadn't gotten sold yet. They were older and they just hadn't gotten sold yet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Damn.
It still tasted fine though, Kyle. It tasted fine. Just probably not as good as that would have if it was super fresh, but still tasted pretty good.
Well, you got a box headed your way, Ethan.
Yes, I saw your
tasty new other halves.
Yay.
I've got actually an old favorite of mine. It's called Conky Dong.
I like it.
It's an IPA. Ethan, I think I sent you one actually.
Yeah. Okay.
I may have sent you the triple version, but.
And who's that from?
My old haunt, Hoof Hearted.
Oh, Cleveland.
Columbus area.
Oh, Columbus area.
Hoof Hearted. If you say it fast enough, Hoof Hearted.
Okay, but how many people actually pronounce? Well, let's see. Hoof. I say hoof. I think. Are there some people? What do you guys say? Like if you were just talking about like a horse, okay.
Hoof or hooves.
Yeah, hoof and hooves. That's weird. English is so weird.
Yeah, but remember, well, I guess they lean into it. The first glass they released, which I've got one of their first glasses, says Hoof Hearted Brewing on one side, and then it's got like a little fart cloud on the other side. So
yeah. Well, no, they absolutely should lean into it. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
So it's one of my old favorites. Thank you to some special Ohio friends who got this in my hands really, really fresh. So it's like 10 days old.
Nice.
And delicious.
All right. Before we get to the mailbag, my weekly plea to people to please look into common sense gun laws. Nobody is saying we are taking away all of your guns. We are just saying be more sensible. And the people, the GOP representatives who keep saying we didn't ban planes when 9/11 happened are so fucking stupid and annoy me so much. And if you think the NRA doesn't have any power over these people, just last night, Republican leadership sent out a notice telling all House Republicans to vote against common sense gun safety bills because the NRA opposes them.
Yeah.
The NRA is not unbeatable. We can take them down, but we just need common sense to prevail. And I'm just pleading with people, please, please, please.
Yeah. And I won't go on a long rant because we know what'll happen if I do, and we know that this subject is particularly sensitive for me. But just really quickly, I want to say that for those who are unaware, and I can't imagine anybody would be, but we're the only developed country, we're the only rich country in the world where this happens. Okay. And people love to talk about, like, it has nothing to do with the guns, it has to do with the people and the mental health, and it has to do with video games and movies and shit like this. I'm willing to grant that the mental health aspect might be part of it. Our mental health care in this country is atrocious. I'm willing to grant that that can play part of the role. But this argument about, like, society and video games and rap music and movies and whatever else you want to talk about is fucking bullshit, because here's a little surprise for you. The rest of the world consumes the media that we create, okay? Our movies, our video games, our TV shows, everybody all over the world fucking uses that shit. And they don't have these fucking massacres happening all the time. It's the goddamn guns, okay? So I hate that argument. I see that all the time. Like, there are certain other arguments where, like, there's a teeny bit of validity. There's zero validity to that argument. So take it off the shelf. Shut the fuck up if you're having that thought. So that's my
I'll parrot my little spiel. I'll parrot Matthew McConaughey yesterday from the White House. So an assault rifle, it's a rifle. It's got a much, much higher muzzle velocity. It's made to shoot, 300 yards plus at 3 times muzzle velocity plus of a handgun. Handgun will get you 50 yards. A handgun, if you're looking at the protection angle, handgun's perfect for inside your house. That AR-15, if you want it for protection, guess what? It's going to go through the wall, and it's going to go through the next wall, and it's going to go through the next wall, and it's still going to have the velocity that can kill someone. Yep. So if you talk to people about, talk to police officers about what the best weapon for protection in your house is, it's not an assault rifle. So please stop using that argument as well. The damage those projectiles, those high energy projectiles do to people. And here's the Matthew McConaughey, where I'm going to parrot there, is so bad that the only way they were able to identify one of the victims who was shot, presumably in the head, was by her shoes. So Think about that. They had to look at the shoes she was wearing to tell what happened, who she was.
This is a 4th grader. Yeah. Reminder, this is a 4th grader. I'm a teacher. I have tons of 4th graders. I have kids slightly younger, slightly older. These kids are sweet. They're innocent. They're wonderful. Imagine this. Think about it for a second. Think about it vividly in your mind. And then ask yourself if you are truly okay with living in a country that allows that kind of kid, a kid, to be fucking slaughtered in their classroom by a gun like this. And if you are okay with that, then fuck you. And you have no sense of, like, actual morality and compassion for other human beings. And you need to hear that. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about, like, being, like, measured arguments. If you're okay with that, like, you are so fucked up in your sense of morality and humanity. Sorry, I said I was not going to get all angry and go on a rant, but I couldn't help it because that's true. I saw that, Matt. I read the same thing. And, like, how can you hear about that and not be just, like, completely mortified, like, in every cell of your being? I can't fathom it. I cannot fathom it. All of these people, and that's what makes me so sad, is there are millions of people throughout the country who are, when faced with this fact, they say, oh well, Second Amendment.
Yeah, but I will try and put an olive branch out there, because I know I have acquaintances, friends, and family members who are all responsible. People that come to mind when I think about a responsible.
And I do too. I got lots of family, but
I have to say, we got to start the dialogue. We have to do something. That monster in Texas, if he walked into a gas station, couldn't have bought cigarettes.
Yeah,
but he could walk into a gun store and buy 2 killing machines.
Couldn't have bought a beer at a fucking bar.
And I say killing machines because that's the language that the what is it called, Dennis Defense or Davis Defense out of Georgia that manufacture one of those. That's the language they used. Look at this killing machine. So,
Yeah.
anyway, mailbag.
Mailbag.
Yep. The goal is within the next year, do our small part. Something will change.
Hopefully.
I like that.
You see the response to the Rays? I'm just gonna throw this out there for the Rays for tweeting gun violence statistics.
No, what was it?
Oh, DeSantis pulled funding that they had for a practice field and facility that was going to be shared by the Rays and the community.
Wow.
Yeah. What the fuck petty bullshit is that?
Well, he's a real piece of shit, so I'm not surprised. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I need a deep breath after that too. Jesus Christ.
All right, well, I'll give you the easy mailbag first. Question for the pod, Brother Dan. First to hit a home run, Isaiah Kanafalefa or Kyle Higashioka?
I think IKF just by virtue of playing time.
Yeah, that was my answer. Damn you.
Yeah. Same exact reasoning too?
Same exact reasoning.
Yeah.
Okay. Higgy is now to give Higgy credit, and I've been on the Higgy bandwagon for so long. He's still putting in the time behind the scenes with Trevino and with the pitching staff, and he is still being an excellent teammate. And I still think he's part of the reason that the pitching staff is doing as well as they are this year. But good golly, his bat is not there, and he's not earned himself that spot. I mean, Trevino last night was hitting 270, and what is he at, 3 or 4 homers? Like, Trevino, I think, has more WAR than Garrett Cole right now. So how do you not play that guy? Higgy hasn't earned his spot in the lineup right now. IKF is playing most every day. He'll get that first homer. Even though Higgy's probably got more power.
Yeah. Well, and now that we've both predicted that, Higgy's going to hit a homer like tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was going to go with Higgy even before you guys had said that, because that's my thing. Is like Higgy can just run into one. Like Connor Falefa, I think he would only be able to hit one like at Yankee Stadium down the line. Like he just has he's shown me no legitimate power.
Yeah. Didn't he have a 10 home run season or something in Texas?
Connor Falefa?
Yeah.
Holy
8 home
shit.
runs. 8 home runs
Eight
last year in
homers.
Texas.
All right, 8 homers. There you go.
That must have been 2019.
No, 2021.
What?
2021.
Well, I don't know what happened to his bat, but he does not look like he has any power.
No.
I mean, he gets his hits and everything. Like he's been great, but
yeah.
Oh my God. I could see Higgy running into one. Like he would have to run into the best fastball right down the middle of all time.
but Higgy, please hit some home runs. Don't be a gym class hero / spring training hero and hit 7 or 8 or whatever he did and then not hit one in the regular season, please.
At least he's not Mr. May like Dave Winfield.
No.
Dave Winfield, or until recently Mr. Rizzo there.
Rizzo.
Yeah.
He's finally turning the corner.
He's been playing really well.
Yeah, he's only hitting like 210 though, so let's not.
Yeah, but at least Rizzo is doing what Gallo should be doing. His OPS is still almost 800. So
I think it's clear that either they should try to package Gallo with Andujar, who, by the way, my prediction and Matt, we're gonna win that because Andujar got sent down and is never going to get more playing time because he can't play defense, just like I said, and they are never going to allow him to get more playing time than someone who can play defense, even if he's got a great bat.
Apparently, yeah.
Also, I correct myself. Cole has more WAR than Trevino, but Trevino still has 1.2 WAR,
which is really good.
Which is more than Sevy and Monty and Giancarlo. So Trevino's got more WAR than Giancarlo right now. So.
That's amazing. Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Giancarlo's only 1.1. He's on the DL. Remember the IL.
He's on the DL.
It must be because he DHs so much.
And he provides no defensive value. So
yeah.
Whereas Trevino probably maybe has a little bit. Yeah, I would imagine.
Oh, I gotta keep going this though. But speaking of no WAR and no value, Mr. Hicks, he was coming into like the beginning of the week was ranking as the worst defensive center fielder in the league.
Was he really?
So yeah.
I don't think he's even a center fielder anymore.
Yeah, like he's so. Yes, I am happy to see him start picking it up, but I still think he only has like 2 extra base hits this year. So
God damn.
yeah, I hope he figures it out, but he's in a rough spot. Yeah, he's got 1 homer and 1 double. So
Yeah, wow.
and 29 singles.
He's gonna get overturned here, I think. A bang bang play at first. Not really bang bang when they slow it up, but
Oh yeah, we're down 6-1. Damn.
Yep.
So Nestor finally had a game as if he was like immortal.
Yeah, didn't even last 5 innings.
Yeah, holy shit, look at that.
Yep. All right, top it off.
Yeah, last mailbag.
Mailbag question from cousin Greg.
Yeah.
Cousin Greg
has entered the conversation again. Bacon bits on ice cream, yes or no?
Ooh.
I've never tried, but I would definitely be down for it. I love salty and sweet together.
Okay, I've got a from personal experience a variation on that. There's a restaurant chain in Cleveland called B Spot. It is run by Michael Simon, Iron Chef Michael Simon, Pride of Cleveland. It's called B Spot because it's everything B: beer, bacon, bourbon, bratwurst, burgers. You name it with a B, it's there.
Bowel problems.
Bowel problems, yes. Severe bowel movements later in the night. But they offer a like bourbon, vanilla, bacon milkshake. So it's a milkshake with like, bacon and bourbon in it.
Nice.
Sounds
and I
pretty
will
good.
say I did not like it because I
Ah.
did not like having to chew that much. Like,
Oh, you had to actually chew it?
you had to. I mean, there was bacon bits,
Yeah.
but you got chunks. You could just
Oh, I wouldn't want that in a shake. If it was like a
couldn't slide that.
flurry.
Yeah. In a shake, it was the flavor was good, but the experience was not.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, again, that's a really good point, Matt. You would have to specify like what type
Yeah.
of ice cream you're getting. Like, are you getting soft serve? Are you getting hard serve? Are you getting a shake? Are you getting a flurry? Like, even though they're bacon bits, all of those make a difference to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think it would be banging on a twist from Burn Dairy.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would
Or think
be
about like
really
some
good.
or like some maple ice cream, right? Like maple bacon is like a really common combo. So imagine you have like some maple ice cream, like a scoop of maple ice cream with some bacon bits sprinkled on top. I bet that'd be tasty. Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
Nice.
boys.
Good question, Greg.
Yeah. Thanks
Greg,
for
I want to
hopping
hear
back
your
in.
response.
Yeah,
What
I
do
want to
you
know what
prefer,
Greg thinks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He'll hear this on his walk tomorrow, and he'll text me, I'm sure.
Okay.
All right, boys. Any shout outs before we go?
Not for me.
Shout out Yulia. Hi, Yulia.
Yeah.
why are you being weird?
we can because I literally just got food delivered to me.
Ooh.
Wow.
So
Shout
yeah.
out. I'll also say shout out Ethan and Yulia. I got offered watermelon. I visited them a couple weeks ago and said I did not like watermelon. And I still will say I don't like watermelon. But
What?
And I was horrified. Yeah.
but-
Isn't this insane?
What?
But I did have at a festival I was at this past Sunday, the Lancaster Veg Fest, for anyone who's interested. I tried a Filipino deep fried watermelon with vanilla icing. Ooh, that was good. That
Oh,
was
that's
really
right.
good.
That's right. We messaged about that. I didn't even think about the fact that it was watermelon and you don't like watermelon.
Yeah, so that was very tasty.
Okay. But deep
it was
fried,
like
all right.
it was like hot pocket to the extreme. Like the outside was crispy and warm, and then the watermelon inside was like the center of the sun hot.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean it's got water, so the if you want to talk about the specific heats of that, the specific heat of the water in the watermelon is going to retain a lot of heat. So yeah, Colin doesn't like the science talk, but yeah.
No, I just don't like that you don't like watermelon.
Fry it as it's great George Carlin would have said, Americans will eat anything if it's fried. Like, hey, what do you got there? Deep fried raccoon's asshole, covered in cheese. I'll eat it. So in this case, fry up some watermelon, put some lemon or some vanilla icing on it. I'm all for it.
I actually have fond memories when Colin and I used to live together. When watermelons were in season, he would always get some and bring them home and chop them up. Colin loves fruit. and watermelon is one of his faves. So
And
that was
Ethan likes to mooch. So
and I love to mooch, exactly. So
I mean,
it was a great situation.
in general, it's a melon thing. Cantaloupe and honeydew. If you're bringing a fruit tray with cantaloupe and honeydew on it, you're just bringing a fruit tray with like space savers on it. Like, give me the grapes, give me the strawberries,
holy
give me
shit.
but honeydew, cantaloupe. That's just like cubes of. I didn't want to put anything better here. I'm throwing it out there. I'm throwing it out there.
So if you ever want to insult Matt, send him like a fruit basket that's only melons.
Only melons.
Seriously,
That's how to-
send
that's how
all
to
the
insult
fruit
him.
baskets.
Yeah.
All the fruit baskets to
Yeah.
Matt. And if we've learned anything from this podcast, it's that Matt is a communist and the worst person in the world. Even though he's a mensch, he's the worst person in the world. I'm never going to be able to sleep now.
Kyle, I didn't know that you felt this strongly about watermelon. You feel even more strongly about it than I did.
Delicious.
I know,
Actually,
it's my favorite.
Funny enough, just last night I was watching an episode of Curb, the latest season, and JB Smooth, who plays Leon and lives with Larry David in the series, was talking about how he can't eat watermelon in front of white people, but he loves watermelon. And so like there's this scene where Larry finds, he's been like, look, this woman, it's a specific name, I can't remember what it is, and Leon wants to date women with this name. And so Larry brings her back to the house and he opens up the kitchen door and he's just like crushing a watermelon. and the woman just looks at him and just walks away. And it's I'm pretty sure it's how the episode ends. It's just classic Larry David and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to spend that much time like cutting up and preparing a difficult fruit, don't give me like a cantaloupe that's got, it's got like imitation pumpkin seeds in there and a rind you can't eat. Like, no, if I'm going to spend that much time prepping a fruit, I'm going to cut up a pineapple.
This is
pineapple
the new...
is way more delicious.
I love pineapple, but
pineapple's great. Yeah.
This is
watermelon,
the new
watermelon
cheese-filled
might
pasta
be the
debate.
best fruit though.
Yeah, I know. I think watermelon might be number one for me. Yeah. But we need to poll the listeners, right? This is the new cheese-filled pasta debate.
Well, like, is it melon? Are we going fruits in general? Like
just fruit? Yeah, favorite fruits, and if you and do you like watermelon or melons in general? Yeah,
I mean,
I want to know all of it.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna have a tough time because like I don't know what to say. I like worse, watermelon or grapefruit. Like that's just like.
I'm not wild about grapefruit.
Yeah, it's okay.
Now you get me a nice, fresh, picked off the tree Cortland apple from an orchard upstate New York.
That's different.
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, that's different.
Fine. Watermelon.
It's still not a fresh. Yeah, it's still not like a watermelon on a hot summer day. So good.
Best. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. We're really getting to podcast territory here. That was like
how
they
do fruit talk.
And they like became friends because they were arguing about fruit, like in a group of other friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Michael Schur once said the most profound thing in the world about fruit on a Fruit Talk segment where they were talking about raspberries, and he's like, you could take the raspberries at the store, like put them under all the lights, like look at them and be like, okay, are they all good and everything? And by the time you get home, there's mold on more than one of those little fuckers. And I was like, yes, every single time.
Come on, I've told you guys the secret, right? Oh, next time you guys are looking at some delicious strawberries or raspberries, pause and look up because they're going to have spotlights on that produce. And it's going to be high CRI, high color rendering index. They're going to blast those with the highest color lamps you can get. So look, the red. It's kind of like the dressing room mirror effect. Like they're going to make that red on that strawberry pop and look amazing. And then you're going to like walk away. I mean, take that same thing as strawberries when you're back in the milk section and look at it and go, yeah, fuck, that looks like shit. But bring it back to the light at the strawberry display. It's going to look amazing. You're going to eat it right away. It's fooling your mind. Your mind.
GE Matt, baby. This is
yeah.
We get GE Matt to help us out with these with these things.
Hey, you see that right there? You see that? That is for a chemical to put in your light bulbs to make the red look redder. So it's actually one of like maybe one out of the 5 million things I've talked about on the show that I'm actually qualified to talk about. The other one being dirt.
Light bulbs and dirt. I love it. That's great.
And in a close, a distant third, maybe beer. I'm not really qualified to talk about that. I
think you're pretty
I
qualified.
consume it in large quantities. That's my only quantification.
Yeah, there you go.
Qualification.
Yeah.
Dirt
Nice.
talk. All right,
Yeah,
boys.
right. Yeah. We did it.
Oh, that's got to be a new segment now.
Yeah.
All right.
So good. All right. Till next week.
Adios.